Well, accountability buddies, I don't know if you caught that, but I just fell on my ass. I pulled over here, and there's this. I'm gonna turn the camera. There's this old picnic bench, and I put my foot right there, and the whole thing just is rotten and collapsed and fell apart. And I just went ass over tea kettle right into the middle of it. Fortunately, there are no exposed screws or anything. So yeah, I'm all right. But that was a shocker. That took me by surprise. I don't know if I'll leave that in or not. We'll see. All right, so here's a negative of this trail. It's the UTVs, and I'm letting all of them go. Looks like there's 4 or 5 of them. All right. All right, so back to the pros of the G.1 Explorer. Getting out into nature is one of them for sure, but it's a solid bike with, it's not an aggressive geometry. It's not like a mountain bike, downhill mountain bike. It's a solid, stable geometry. It's going to get you from one place to another. Whether you're using it as a commuter or on gravel roads like this, it's a solid bike. And it feels good. Like, this bike just feels pretty good. Also, I've had a bunch of people in the comments say that you can't put regular parts onto the Walmart bikes. And I'm just calling shenanigans on that. Because every part I put onto this bike, from the derailleurs to the wolf tooth extender to new pedals, new bars, new stem, all of it's standard bike part stuff. Standard sizing, everything on this bike is standard. Is it super modern standard? No. Is it maybe 10 years out of date standard? Absolutely. But that's okay, because it functions and it's solid and it works. So yeah, you got standard parts you can upgrade this with. So I think that's a big positive for the bike, is that it's infinitely upgradable. You can buy parts, put them on here, upgrade it. You can go to the bike shop, have them put parts on it if they'll work on a Walmart bike. You know, a lot of bike shops won't. But yeah, it's infinitely upgradable. It's easy to do that work yourself. It's a great bike if you want to learn how to wrench on bikes. If you are looking to learn how to work on bikes, this is a good one to do it. Now, that brings me to something I'm going to call a negative, and that's its fiddly little problems. This bike, every time I ride it, I gotta tweak something. Every time I get off the bike, I gotta tweak these brakes. If I have to change a flat, I gotta tweak the brakes. If I don't know, every ride I'm tweaking something. More than any other bike I've ever had. The Kona, I did a basic shakedown every 100 miles. You know, when I was lubing my chain, I checked the nuts, I checked the bolts, make sure everything was tight and working. And that's all I had to do every 100 miles. This, every 30-mile ride, I'm tweaking something on this bike. And that was when I had the original parts on it and the upgrade parts. Some of that is, and I'm just gonna say this, I don't think I'll be buying another L2 group set ever again. Not a fan. The Sensa that I bought for the Kona, as far as I remember, once I got that dialed in, it did okay. I had a little shifting problem, but I think that's because the derailleur hanger was bent. And that bike has an integrated derailleur hanger. But anyway, this is not about the Kona. This is about the G1. And, you know, that's a whole other thing about this bike, is the fact that there's no one-to-one replacement for the derailleur hanger. So you gotta order something off Amazon or eBay or Walmart Marketplace or whatever, and then grind it to fit. There's no one-to-one replacement yet. There will be eventually. But for now, you gotta get that off-brand derailleur hanger, grind it down, and put it in. And Walmart should really sell those, but I know I'm gonna get a bunch of comments. Walmart's never sell those. Shut up. I know, they should. Because the whole point of that video was saying that Walmart should sell rear derailleur hangers. It's just basic customer service. And that is another con on this bike, is that Walmart's customer service, their solution to everything is, if it's within 90 days, bring the bike back, swap it out. But they might not have one on hand, so you might be SOL. So for me, that is a major con, and why eventually I will not be riding this as much next year as I am this year. I have a tendency to be a one bike woman, so I want to ride a single bike all year and not touch my other bikes. So I'm looking at building up a whole new frame for next year and looking at something that has actually pretty similar geometry, but a significantly lower standover. For me, for gravel riding, I want a standover that is a little lower. When I'm getting on and off this bike, I'm busting my junk, my lady parts, on the top bar. And that means when I was using a top tube bag, it was a major pain in the ass because I kept knocking that off the top tube because there's not enough room for the top tube bag. And for me, I like having a top tube bag. I'd rather have a top tube bag than the front bag that I have. It just functions better for me. So that's something I'm like thinking about and considering for next year. I'm looking at other frames. And here's the thing. You cannot find a frame for a branded bike for $250. And then I'm talking like frame alone. Like, it's just not something that is available, unfortunately. So I'm looking at spending a whole lot more money on a frame on its own. And mainly the reason for doing that is I enjoy the wrenching part. I enjoy the building up of the bike. I enjoy sourcing new parts. But I get to a point with the bike where I just want to ride it. I just want to pile the miles onto the bike and not worry about tweaking the gears, tweaking the shifting, you know, I get to that point where I just want to ride. And that's where I'm at with this bike. I'm not tweaking anything anymore on it. I'm not going to try as much as I want to. I'm not going to put new bars on it. I'm not going to do a new drivetrain as much as I want to. I'm not going to switch over to friction shifting, even though that's my favorite. I'm not going to do any of that. What I'm planning on doing is continuing to work up to my Century ride. And then I will clean this bike, tune it up, and I'm going to pass it on to my nephew. Because I think he is tall enough at this point where he can ride the shit out of this bike like I have. My hope is to hit 1,000 miles on this bike this summer, and then by October hit that Century ride. I know I can do it. I think I can do it. I know I can do it. So 1,000 plus miles on this bike, then it'll get cleaned up and gifted to my nephew, maybe with some new bling on it, maybe not. We'll see what he wants. He might not want the purple pedals. I got some oil flick pedals he might want. He might not want rainbow pedals. I don't know. We'll tweak it so it's exactly what he wants. And then he can ride the shit out of it. Yeah, so that's the plan. No more upgrades. I am going to be saving, putting aside some cash to purchase a new frame, because this is how I do things. Anything that's for exercise or for fun, I set aside some money to make that happen, and then I do it. So, like I say in all my videos, no more than one upgrade per paycheck. And so I'm going to take that upgrade money, and I am going to set it aside into a fund for buying a new frame. So pretty excited at that idea, building up a new frame for next year, because part of the reason for getting this bike was to see if I would like something that had more road-like geometry over my old mountain bikes. And, you know, I love my old 90s mountain bikes. That's my classics. And I really enjoy that. Oh, shit! Oh, ow.